for move. It was move that actually opened the eye of a lot of people to know this car is actually a transporter, is a transport vehicle. So what's up, YouTube? What's happening, all the wonderful drivers out there, all the fantastic passengers? You guys are welcome to the Driverpreneur channel. And based on popular demand, based on requests from my DM, you know, I've been getting this particular message almost every time. It's 2023, the cost of prices have changed, most of them have gone way up. So what is the best low budget cars that are available for me to like play with? You know, drivers ask this question a lot, people that DM me, they ask this question a lot. So I've taken some time to ask questions, you know, people that use some of these cars that I consider low budget cars. I've asked them questions like, how are you guys coping with this vehicle? And I've gotten some couple of feedbacks, and I want to play it back to the house. Maybe it could help you make a decision as regards buying a car to start up with ride sharing in 2023. So in today's video, we'll be running over 5 low budget cars that's available currently in the market that you can get and, you know, start up ride sharing with. So without wasting time, let's head on to today's video straight up and run over these 5 different cars that makes it to this list. Disclaimer: this is not an expert advice. I'm only giving this video based on my own personal research and my personal questions I've asked people that use this same vehicle. And no car is fault free. You can't expect to buy a car with a low budget and not, you know, spend some money to, you know, put it in shape. So with that said, let's head on to today's video straight up. So the very first car on my list when it comes to low budget car that I can get from 1 million and below is Hyundai Accent. Hyundai Accent. This body type right here, within this year range, this body type, this particular body type, I think is from 2003 to 2007 or so. This particular body type. And one thing you should know about this car is that most of it comes in manual drive. I would not recommend anybody to get these cars automatic drive. Me personally, I don't have confidence in their transmission system. Even some Japanese made vehicles that is not Toyota, I don't have confidence in their transmission. When you talk of a South Korean vehicle. So this particular Hyundai Accent, you can get it within, the last I checked, I still saw some that was going for 750, 800k, you know, depending on the condition. Some people still place theirs for 1 million naira. You know, everything is based on the condition. If the car AC is working, you know, the interior and exterior is very fine, you should expect to get around that 1 million. But within that range, 1 million and less, you can get this vehicle. But make sure you are getting one that is sound, especially the engine and the gear. That is very important, because most of these vehicles, engine may be very difficult for you to get a good replacement. So just make sure you go with your mechanic to inspect this car. So the second car on the list is the Suzuki Auto. Suzuki Auto, I hope I pronounced that right. Yes, Auto. This car is very underrated, I'm telling you. I know somebody that used this car for the regular Lagos taxi, and the guy's testimony of this car is fantastic. It's very fuel efficient. I think it's 3 plugs. Yes, 3 plugs. This car used 3 plugs. And thank God for move. It was move that actually opened the eye of a lot of people to know this car is actually a transporter, is a transport vehicle. When they brought it about 2 years ago, when they introduced the Suzuki Auto to their fleets about 2 years ago, I was like, okay, let's see how this car will last. If this car will last the first year season, rain season, the second year raining season. And to my surprise, these cars are swimming the waters. They swim water like say tomorrow not day, and they are still on the road. Most of them are still on the road, knocking about town. In fact, these cars really surprised me, and these cars are way very cheap. They are very super cheap. You can get this vehicle as low as 500k, 600k, This body type, now I'm not talking about the one Move is giving. The one Move is giving is a little bit more recent. I think 2019, 2020 model, 2021 model. This one are older models, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, and the likes. This particular body type, they are very cheap, super affordable. The other day I saw one in the car stand and I asked the guy how much he was willing to sell, and he told me 350,000. Imagine getting a car for 350. Although the AC was not working, so expect to, you know, change the AC and probably one or two things. But I believe the parts of this vehicle is very, very super cheap. Replacement of parts compared to the Hyundai Accent. This Suzuki is very cheap. I think where they get their parts is around Alaba International. That's where you get most of their parts. Suspension parts, body parts, engine parts, and the like. So let's move on. Number 3 on this list is the Honda Accord, popularly known as end of discussion. Although this car has a downside, which is the ball joints, but if you are a sensitive driver that, you know, listens to the communication from your car, you know, your car always communicates to you, you listen, you can change your ball joints often and when required, so that it doesn't end up, you know, disappointing you on the road, because this car is notorious for this particular reason. That's why a lot of people stay away from the car. But I know people that use this vehicle and they hardly have issue with the ball joint pulling, because they always take notes and changes from, you know, as often as possible. You know, I have a guy that uses this car and he changes his own every 3 months. He makes sure he replaces. It's not expensive. The budget of the car, I heard the two side is just 6,000 for the pair. So if you are replacing it 6,000 naira every 3 months, I don't think it's bad. But if you are a driver that drives, you know, that do like 12 hours on the road, I think I advise you change it every 2 months. So the car is not bad. The car is rugged. The fuel economy is not that superb compared to, you know, a regular 1.8 liter engine, because the engine is 2.4 liter engine. So the fuel consumption can be compared with the Toyota Camry, which is popularly called Big Daddy. But in terms of affordability, the car is pretty affordable. This car, I have a friend, like a neighbor just down the road, he just bought one. He went to Abuja to pick one and he picked it for 600,000 naira. Very clean exterior, very clean, although he had to change the engine. The engine of these cars are very cheap. I think he changed the engine for 180,000. So roughly he spent about that's about 780,000 plus the engine to get this car, this Honda Accord, which is end of discussion. So this is not a bad car to knock about town, you know, if you don't have the budget for a Toyota Corolla, or you don't have 3, 4, 5 million to buy a car. You can start with this, you know, use it to like save some money and then buy your, you know, your dream car that you wish to get to do your ride sharing with. The number 4 on this list is the Honda City. The Honda City. Most of these cars I mentioned, they also have their downsides, and I'll mention some of the downside of this vehicle. The Honda City is very affordable. You can get Honda City within that same budget, but note is within the year 2003 to like 2005, 2006 that you can get within this budget. And you have to search, you have to, if possible, go to the look and craning of some streets where you know they park cars for sale. Like there are parts of Ikorodu that you see a lot of cars along the road. There are parts of Igondo, you see a lot of cars on the road. Those kind of places you can get cars, these vehicles at these prices. You can also check online. Most of the time I use Gigi to look for cars. Before now I use Car 45, but Car 45 has been bought by Gigi, so I use Gigi sometimes to do my search. So this car is also very affordable. You can get it within 1 million and below, and the parts also are not that expensive. So replacement of part like engine, gearbox is also affordable. Although there's a downside to this car, which is the transmission. The automatic transmission is not rugged. The automatic transmission is not very strong. So if you know how to drive a manual vehicle, I would advise you go for the manual of this vehicle. It will, you know, save you more in terms of transmission maintenance. So the Honda City makes it to number 4 in our list. So number 5, which for me I still consider as the best low budget car when it comes to ride sharing, is the Honda Civic. this car is underrated. This is what I use, and I can, you know, attest to the ruggedity of this vehicle. This car, as I call it, tuke, this car is rugged. Forget, like, once you can make sure the car doesn't overheat. One thing about this car, it hates overheating. There was a time I was battling with overheating. I changed head gasket. I still had the same problem. I had to change the engine, which at the end of the day, I noticed the engine cost me about 70 to 80,000 to change. Although I had to swap my own old engine. Like, I sold my engine like a counterbalance kind of thing. The engine outright from the market is about 130,000. So this car is very rugged and super cheap. You can get this car. The other day I saw one being offered for sale just not too far from my neighborhood, and the guy placed it at 700,000. And when I start the car started right straight up. You know, some people still place this car at 1.2 or 1.3. It all depends on the condition. Like that one I saw that day, the AC was not functional, you know, and I believe the gear was having some slight challenge because there was a delay when I test drive it. It was delaying to shift from 1 to 2, and you know, so on. So another downside of this vehicle is the transmission. You have to monitor it very well. You have to service it as at when due, clean the solenoid valves, clean all the filters. There's some switch in this gearbox. You have to clean it from time to time, change the oil regularly. That's when the gearbox is going to last you. The gear of Honda, I notice, is kind of fragile. The automatic transmission of Honda is kind of fragile. So if you have the power to drive manual, I advise you go for the manual. But overall, this car is very rugged and it's super affordable. The AC compressor, as at the last time I checked, is 12,000 naira to change the AC. My own AC compressor, I've changed it. Going to 1 year now, I've not had issue. My AC still cools, super cooling. Like, the AC chills very well. And considering the fact that I bought this car for 600,000 about 2 years ago, it's really a value for money vehicle. Imagine getting this car for 600k. And my car is not bad, if you ask me. It takes me anywhere I want to go. It hardly disappoints me. The only thing is I service it regularly. I make sure the valve, idle air control valve, is always serviced, because that's another problem with this car, the idle air control valve. Sometimes you're driving and the car will just go off. You think it's plugged, you think it's that. It's just idle air control valve. So these are the 5 vehicles. So these are the 5 vehicles that makes it to my low budget cars in 2023. So before you get any car, make sure you go with a car guru that will check the car and, you know, verify that the car is okay. Because trust me, you don't want to deal with car troubles. It can almost drive one crazy. So guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, peace and be good.